Have you ever been so consumed by grief that you barely noticed the vultures circling? This is the story of how my in-laws Harold and June tried to steal custody of my 3-year-old daughter Lily after my husband Joshua died. How they filed false CPS reports, hired 3 lawyers, showed up with custody papers demanding I sign over my child. How they built a case against me while I was planning a funeral, and how I destroyed them in court. My name is Sarah. I'm 28 years old. Joshua was my high school sweetheart. We married at 22, had Lily at 25. He was killed in a car accident 6 months ago. This is the story of how grief turns some people into monsters, and how I fought back. Joshua died on a Tuesday. Massive truck collision on the interstate. He was pronounced dead at the scene. I got the call at 2:47 p.m. while folding Lily's laundry. Your husband has been in an accident. You need to come to Memorial Hospital immediately. I drove there in a daze, left Lily with my neighbor, Mrs. Chen. The hospital chaplain met me in the waiting room. I knew before he said a word. I'm so sorry. Your husband didn't survive his injuries. The next 3 days were a blur. Funeral arrangements, phone calls, death certificates, life insurance paperwork, telling Lily that Daddy wasn't coming home. Mommy, where's Daddy? Daddy had an accident, honey. He's in heaven now. When is he coming back? Never. That was the hardest word I'd ever said. Harold and June Joshua's parents arrived the day after he died. I expected comfort, support, help with arrangements. Instead, they took over, made decisions without asking, told the funeral home what flowers to order, what suit to bury him in, what the service would look like. I was too numb to fight, too grief-stricken to care. Let them handle it. I could barely dress myself. They stayed at our house, slept in the guest room. June cooked meals. Harold answered the phone. They seemed helpful. I didn't notice they were documenting everything. At the funeral, June insisted on holding Lily during the entire service. Wouldn't let me take her. Said I was too emotional, that Lily needed stability. I let her. I could barely stand. Sobbed through the entire eulogy. Couldn't hold myself together, let alone a 3-year-old. After the burial, Harold pulled me aside. Sarah, we need to talk about Lily's future. Not now, Harold. I just buried my husband. That's exactly why we need to talk. You're not in a position to care for her right now. We think Lily should come stay with us for a while. What? Just temporarily. Until you get back on your feet. You're grieving. You can barely function. Lily needs stability. She needs her mother. You're not capable right now. Look at yourself. You haven't showered in 3 days. The house is a mess. You can barely get out of bed. My husband just died, which is why Lily needs us. We can provide structure, consistency. You need time to heal. I need my daughter. We'll discuss this later. He walked away. I was too exhausted to process what had just happened, too broken to realize it was a threat. 2 days after the funeral, June showed up at 7 a.m. Let herself in with the key she'd never returned. Found me still in bed. Lily watching cartoons in the living room, still in yesterday's pajamas. Sarah, this is unacceptable. It's 7 a.m. and Lily hasn't had breakfast. She's in dirty clothes. The house is filthy. I buried my husband 4 days ago. Life goes on. Children need routine. Lily needs structure. You're failing her. Get out of my house. We're family. We're here to help. But if you won't accept help, we'll have to take other measures. What does that mean? It means we'll do what's necessary to protect our granddaughter. She left. I should have called a lawyer then. Should have seen the warning signs. But grief makes you stupid, makes you slow, makes you miss what's right in front of you. 1 week later, CPS showed up at my door. Anonymous report. Allegations of neglect. Child living in unsanitary conditions. Mother unable to care for child due to mental health crisis. The caseworker was kind but thorough. Inspected the house. Interviewed Lily. Asked about my mental state, my support system, my ability to parent. I'm grieving. My husband died 2 weeks ago. I'm doing my best. I understand. But we have to follow up on reports. Is there anyone helping you? Family, friends. My in-laws have been around, but they're not helpful. They're invasive. The caseworker made notes, said the house was fine. Lily seemed well cared for, The case would be closed, but it would remain on file. Who reported me? Anonymous. I can't disclose that information. But I knew. Harold and June. That night, Harold called. Sarah, we heard CPS came by. We're very concerned. This confirms what we feared. You're not capable of caring for Lily right now. You called CPS. We did what we had to do. Lily's well-being comes first. You tried to have my daughter taken away. We're trying to help, but you're too prideful to see it. We're filing for emergency custody, for Lily's protection. You'll never take her from me. We already have 3 lawyers, a psychologist's evaluation, documentation of your neglect, CPS reports, witness statements. You can't fight this, Sarah. Sign the papers. Let Lily come to us. You can have supervised visits once a month. Get a lawyer, Harold. I hung up. I broke down. Sobbed on the kitchen floor for an hour. How was this happening? My husband was dead. My in-laws were trying to steal my daughter. I was barely surviving each day. But survival instincts kicked in. I called my best friend Morgan, told her everything. She came over immediately with her husband Tom, who's a family law attorney. Tom listened to the entire story, took notes, asked questions. His face darkened as I explained. Sarah, this is grandparent rights abuse. They're weaponizing your grief, documenting your vulnerable moments, building a case while you're at your weakest. Can they actually take Lily? Not easily. You're her biological mother. You have full custody. They'd have to prove you're unfit. But they're building a paper trail. CPS report, even if unfounded, creates a record. They're documenting the house condition, your emotional state, everything. What do I do? Fight back. Hard. I'll represent you pro bono. We're going to war. Tom filed a response to their emergency custody petition, requested a hearing, subpoenaed their evidence, hired a child psychologist to evaluate Lily and me, documented everything. The hearing was set for 6 weeks out. In the meantime, Harold and June escalated. They showed up at Lily's preschool, tried to pick her up. The school called me, said Lily's grandparents were demanding to take her, that they claimed I'd authorized it. I never authorized anything. They're not on the pickup list. We know. We called you first. But they're causing a scene. Should we call the police? Yes. Police arrived, escorted Harold and June from school property. The principal banned them from campus, filed a trespassing report. Tom used it in court. Evidence of boundary violations. Attempted interference with custody. June called CPS again. Second anonymous report. Allegations that Lily had missed doctor's appointments, that I was keeping her isolated, that she showed signs of emotional neglect. CPS came back. Different caseworker. Same questions. Same inspection. Found nothing. Case closed. But another report on file. Tom documented it. Pattern of harassment. False reports. Abusive system. 3 weeks before the hearing, Harold and June showed up at my house with a social worker and 3 lawyers. Demanded entry. Said they had court-ordered visitation pending the custody hearing. They didn't. Tom confirmed. It was a bluff. I recorded everything on my phone. Their threats, their demands, their insistence that I was unfit, that Lily belonged with them, that Joshua would want his daughter raised by his parents, not his unstable widow. Tom used the recording in court. Evidence of manipulation, coercion, attempted intimidation. The custody hearing finally arrived. Harold and June brought 3 lawyers, a child psychologist who'd never met Lily, character witnesses, photo evidence of my messy house during the week after Joshua's death. Their lawyer painted a picture of an unstable grieving woman unable to care for her child, a house in disarray, a mother who couldn't get out of bed, a grandmother and grandfather ready to provide stability, structure, and love. Tom dismantled them piece by piece. The messy house photos were taken the week of the funeral, normal for a grieving widow. The CPS reports were false. Both cases closed. No findings of neglect. The attempts to pick Lily up from school without authorization. Evidence of boundary violations. The false claims of court-ordered visitation. Evidence of manipulation. Then Tom called me to the stand. Mrs. Thompson, can you describe your relationship with your daughter Lily? I love her more than anything. She's all I have left of Joshua. I'm doing everything I can to give her stability while grieving the loss of my husband. Do you believe you're an unfit mother? No, I'm a grieving mother. There's a difference. I've been going to therapy. Lily's been in play therapy. We're both healing, but I've never neglected her, never put her in danger. I'm her mother, and I'm doing my best. Tom submitted evidence, therapy records, doctor's appointments all kept, school attendance perfect. Lily's psychologist report stating she was well-adjusted, happy, and bonded to her mother. Then Tom called the school principal, testified to the attempted pickup, the trespassing, the scene Harold and June caused, called my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, testified she'd been helping, that Lily was always clean-fed and happy, that I was grieving but coping, called the second CPS caseworker, testified that both reports were unfounded, that the allegations seemed retaliatory. The judge listened to everything, asked Harold and June direct questions. Why do you believe Mrs. Thompson is unfit? She can't function. Her house was a disaster. She can barely care for herself. When did you observe this? The week of the funeral. And since then. We haven't been allowed back, because you tried to have her child taken away based on her grief. The judge looked disgusted. Mr. and Mrs. Harris, your son just died. Your daughter-in-law is grieving. Rather than support her, you've harassed her, filed false reports, attempted to interfere with custody, tried to weaponize her vulnerable moments against her. This court finds your behavior reprehensible. Petition for emergency custody denied. Mrs. Thompson retains full custody. Mr. and Mrs. Harris, you are granted supervised visitation one Sunday per month, pending Mrs. Thompson's approval. Any further harassment will result in complete termination of visitation rights. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Hearing dismissed. I sobbed in the hallway. Relief, vindication, exhaustion. Morgan held me while I fell apart. Harold and June left without a word. Didn't try to see Lily, didn't apologize, just left. 2 weeks later, June showed up at Lily's preschool again. Despite the ban, despite the court order, screamed that she was being kept from her granddaughter, that I'd stolen her family. School called police. June was arrested for trespassing, violating court order, banned permanently. Tom filed for a restraining order. Granted. Harold and June barred from contact with Lily or me for 2 years. They violated it 3 times, showing up at our house, at the park, at the grocery store. Each time police removed them. Each time their violations were documented. After the 3rd violation, the judge revoked all visitation rights, permanently. Harold and June would never see Lily again unless she sought them out as an adult. That was 4 months ago. Lily and I are healing, slowly. Therapy helps, time helps, knowing we're safe helps. Lily asks about Grandma and Grandpa sometimes. I tell her they made some bad choices, that sometimes people hurt us when they're scared, that we still love them but we have to keep ourselves safe. She seems to understand, as much as a 3-year-old can. Harold and June sent a letter last week, delivered through their lawyer, long apology, explanation of their grief, their fear of losing their only grandchild after losing their only son, their regret. I read it, felt nothing. Maybe someday I'll forgive them. Maybe when Lily's older, I'll let them have supervised contact. But not now. Not when the wounds are still fresh. Joshua would be furious with them. He loved his parents, but he loved me and Lily more. He'd never forgive them for what they put us through. Some days I'm angry. Angry that they tried to steal my daughter during the worst time of my life. Angry that they weaponized my grief. Angry that I had to fight them in court while mourning my husband. Other days, I'm just sad. Sad that Lily lost her father and her grandparents. Sad that grief turned them into monsters. Sad that it had to end this way. But mostly, I'm grateful. Grateful for Tom and Morgan. Grateful for the judge who saw through their manipulation. Grateful for the school and neighbors who supported me. Grateful that Lily is safe and with me where she belongs. Grief doesn't give anyone the right to hurt others, to exploit weakness, to steal children. Harold and June thought their grief mattered more than mine, that their love for Lily gave them more rights than my role as her mother. They were wrong, and now they live with the consequences. No contact with their only grandchild, no relationship with their daughter-in-law, nothing but regret and restraining orders. Was it worth it? Trying to take Lily from me, alienating the one person who connected them to their dead son. Destroying any chance of a relationship with their granddaughter? I don't think so. But it was their choice, and choices have consequences. Lily and I are building a new life, one without Joshua, one without Harold and June, one with new boundaries and hard-won peace. Some days are harder than others, but we're surviving, and survival is enough for now. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if this resonated. Comment your own stories of fighting for your children. Share if you know someone dealing with grandparent rights abuse. See you next time. What I didn't tell you yet is everything that happened between the court hearing and now. The messy, complicated aftermath. The therapy sessions. The nights Lily woke up crying for Daddy. The moments I almost broke. Because winning custody isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of learning to survive. The week after the court hearing, I finally allowed myself to fall apart. Properly. Completely. For 6 months, I'd been in survival mode, planning a funeral, fighting CPS, preparing for court, protecting Lily. I hadn't had time to actually grieve. Now I did. And it hit like a tsunami. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. Morgan took Lily. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. Joshua was gone. His parents had tried to steal our daughter. I'd had to fight them in court while my husband's body was barely cold. Morgan finally forced me into the shower on day 4, literally dragged me out of bed. Sarah, you have to get up. You have to keep going. For Lily, for Joshua, for yourself. I can't. It's too much. I can't do this. You already did. You fought them and won. Now you fight the grief. One day at a time. She was right, but knowing doesn't make it easier. I started intensive therapy, twice a week. Dr. Martinez specialized in grief and trauma. She diagnosed me with complicated grief and PTSD from the custody battle. Your brain is processing 2 traumas simultaneously, she explained. The sudden loss of your husband and the betrayal by his family during your most vulnerable time. That's why you're struggling to function. How do I fix it? You don't fix it. You learn to carry it. You build coping skills. You give yourself permission to grieve without guilt. You separate your grief for Joshua from your anger at his parents. It took months. Slowly, I started functioning again. Routine helped. Structure helped. Lily helped. Every morning we had breakfast together. Then I'd drop her at preschool. Then I'd go to work half days at first, eventually full time. Then pick her up, dinner, bath, bedtime story. The routine kept me grounded. But Lily was struggling too. 3 years old and trying to understand why Daddy wasn't coming back, why Grandma and Grandpa couldn't visit anymore. We started play therapy for her. Dr. Kim was amazing. Used dolls and art to help Lily process. Taught her it was okay to be sad. That Daddy dying wasn't her fault. That Mommy still loved her even when Mommy was sad too. One session, Dr. Kim had Lily draw a picture of our family. She drew me and her, then scribbled out 2 figures in the corner. Who's that Lily? Grandma and Grandpa. They're far away now. They were mean to Mommy. Do you miss them? Sometimes. But Mommy says we have to be safe. So they stay away. Dr. Kim showed me the drawing afterward. Sarah, she's adjusting well. She understands at her level. But watch for attachment issues. She's afraid of losing you now. May become clingy or have separation anxiety. She was right. Lily couldn't sleep alone anymore. Cried if I left her sight. Panicked if I was late picking her up from school. We co-slept for 4 months. Her little body pressed against mine. Scared I'd disappear like Daddy did. Scared Grandma and Grandpa would come take her away. It's okay, baby. Mommy's right here. I'm not going anywhere. You're safe. Promise. I promise. Slowly she healed. Slowly I healed. Slowly we became a family of 2 instead of 3. But the legal battle wasn't quite over. Harold and June violated the restraining order 3 times, each time escalating. The first time was 2 weeks after the hearing. I was at the grocery store with Lily. Turned around and there was June, standing at the end of the aisle, staring at us. Sarah, Lily, please, I just want to talk. You're violating the restraining order. Leave now or I'm calling the police. She's my granddaughter. You can't keep her from me forever. I can and I will. Leave. She left. I called the police anyway, filed a report. They went to her house, warned her, documented the violation. The second time was worse. Harold showed up at our house on a Saturday morning, banged on the door. Lily ran to her room terrified. Sarah, I know you're in there. We need to talk about this. This is insane. She's our granddaughter. Joshua would want us in her life. I didn't answer. Called the police from inside, recorded everything through the doorbell camera. This is harassment. You're destroying our family. Just let us see her. 1 hour, supervised, whatever you want. Police arrived within 10 minutes. Removed Harold. Another report. Another warning. Tom filed for a hearing. Showed the judge the video. The pattern of violations. The continued harassment. Mr. Harris, you were given very clear instructions by this court. You are not to contact Mrs. Thompson or your granddaughter, yet you've violated this order twice now. Why should I not hold you in contempt? Your Honor, I'm a grieving father. My son is dead. My granddaughter is all I have left. This is cruel and unusual punishment. What's cruel is what you did to Mrs. Thompson, trying to take her child while she was planning her husband's funeral. You made your choices. Now you live with them. One more violation and you're looking at jail time. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. But there was a third violation, the worst one. 3 months ago, I took Lily to the park, just the two of us, Saturday afternoon. She was on the swings. I was pushing her, watching her laugh for the first time in months. Then I saw them, Harold and June, sitting on a bench 30 feet away, watching us. My stomach dropped. I grabbed Lily off the swing. Mommy, what's wrong? We have to go, baby. Right now. But I'm playing. Now, Lily. She started crying. I carried her to the car, hands shaking, heart racing, looked back. They were following us, not running, just walking, slowly, like they had all the time in the world. I strapped Lily in, fumbled with my keys, started the car. They were 15 feet away now. June reaching toward us. Sarah, please, just give us 5 minutes. We're sorry. We love you. We love Lily. This has gone too far. I drove away, called the police, called Tom, pulled over 2 blocks away and broke down. This was the third violation. Tom was done being nice. The hearing was brutal. Tom brought everything. 3 documented violations. The doorbell camera footage, park security footage, yes, they were on camera. Witness statements from other parents at the park who saw Harold and June following us. The judge was furious. Mr. and Mrs. Harris, I gave you multiple chances, multiple warnings. You were told in no uncertain terms to stay away. Yet here we are again. I'm revoking all visitation rights permanently. No contact, no communication, nothing. If you violate this order again, I will have you arrested for contempt and you will serve jail time. Am I clear? Your Honor, please. We'll do anything. You've done enough. Order is final. You may appeal, but I doubt any judge will overturn this. You've shown a pattern of harassment, stalking, and intimidation. You've traumatized a 3-year-old child and her grieving mother. You're lucky I'm not charging you criminally. Get out of my courtroom. They left sobbing. I felt nothing. No victory, no satisfaction. Just exhaustion. That was 3 months ago. No contact since. No letters, no drive-bys. Nothing. Either they finally accepted it or their lawyer told them they'd go to prison next time. Lily stopped asking about them after the park incident. Like she finally understood they weren't coming back. Sometimes she mentions Daddy, asks if he's watching from heaven, if he's proud of her. I tell her yes. Every single day Daddy is watching and he's so proud of his brave girl. She smiles, seems satisfied, goes back to her coloring or her dolls or whatever 3-year-olds do. We have good days and bad days. Good days Lily is happy, plays, laughs, acts like a normal kid. Those days I feel like we're going to be okay. Bad days she cries for Daddy, has nightmares about Grandma and Grandpa taking her away. clings to me, won't let me out of her sight. Those days I question everything. Wonder if I'm doing enough, if therapy is working, if she'll ever fully heal. Dr. Kim says it's normal. Grief isn't linear. Trauma isn't linear. Healing takes time, years, not months. And that's okay. I've learned to be patient. With Lily, with myself, with the process. I've also learned who my real family is. Morgan and Tom, Mrs. Chen, my neighbor, the teachers at Lily's preschool, my book club friends, my co-workers. They showed up. They supported us. They helped us survive. Joshua's brother Mark reached out 2 months ago, said he was disgusted by what his parents did, that he wanted a relationship with Lily, that he missed his brother and didn't want to lose his niece, too. I was skeptical at first, but Mark has been consistent, respectful. He visits twice a month, supervised at first, now unsupervised. Brings Lily gifts, plays with her, tells her stories about her daddy. Lily loves Uncle Mark, asks when he's coming over, draws him pictures, finally has a connection to her father's side of the family that's healthy and safe. Mark apologized on behalf of his parents, said they were consumed by grief and made terrible choices. That he tried to talk them down but they wouldn't listen. That he hopes someday I can forgive them but he understands if I can't. I told him maybe someday, but not today. Not while Lily still has nightmares. Not while I still flinch at the grocery store thinking I'll see June. Not while the trauma is still so raw. He understood. Said he'd be patient. That family is about more than blood. That he'd earn my trust slowly. So far he has. And it helps. Lily having an uncle. Someone who looks like her daddy, who shares his mannerisms, who can tell her stories about him as a kid. It doesn't replace Joshua. Nothing will. But it's something. I'm dating again, casually, nothing serious, just reminding myself that I'm still alive, still capable of human connection, still allowed to move forward. Dr. Martinez says it's healthy. That moving on doesn't mean forgetting, that I can love Joshua and still build a new life, that grief and joy can coexist. Some days I believe her, some days I don't. But I'm trying. For Lily, for Joshua, for myself. This nightmare taught me a lot. That grief makes people do terrible things. That boundaries matter even with family. That fighting for your child is always worth it. That survival is its own victory. Harold and June will never know Lily. We'll never see her grow up. We'll never hear about her first day of kindergarten or her soccer games or her piano recitals. They chose their pride over their granddaughter. They chose control over relationship. They chose to fight instead of support. And they lost everything. I don't feel bad for them anymore. I did at first. Felt guilty for keeping Lily from them. Wondered if I was being cruel. If I should give them another chance. Dr. Martinez helped me see clearly. They didn't just make one mistake. They made dozens, calculated, deliberate, documented. They tried to weaponize my grief. They filed false reports. They harassed me. They violated court orders. They traumatized a 3-year-old child. That's not grief. That's abuse. And I don't owe abusers anything. Not forgiveness. Not access. Not another chance. Maybe when Lily is 18, she can decide for herself. If she wants to meet them, hear their side, build a relationship. That's her choice to make. But right now, my job is to protect her, to give her stability, to help her heal. And I can't do that with Harold and June in our lives. So here we are. A family of 2. Smaller than I planned. Different than I imagined. But ours. Safe. Healing. Joshua would be proud. I know he would. He'd hate what his parents did. He'd love how I fought back. He'd be so proud of how Lily is handling everything. And that's enough. His pride, his memory, his love still here even though he's gone. Thanks for listening to our whole story, the victory and the aftermath, the healing and the nightmares, the good days and the bad days. If you're fighting for your kids against grandparents' rights abuse, you're not alone. Document everything. Get a good lawyer. Trust your instincts. You can win. We did. Subscribe for more stories. Comment your own experiences. Share if this helped someone. See you next time.